6 children were sleeping inside a small house. Outside, the street was silent. Then, suddenly, flames began to rise. Within minutes, the house was burning. Smoke filled the night sky. And inside that fire, something terrible was happening.
People like to believe that danger announces itself, a strange sound, a shadow in the night. But most tragedies begin quietly, behind ordinary doors, on streets where nothing ever seems to happen. In the English city of Derby, Victory Road looked like any other suburban street. Small brick houses, narrow sidewalks, neighbors who knew each other by name. Inside one of those homes lived a large family. Parents, children, noise, routine. The kind of crowded household where mornings were chaotic and evenings were loud. To the outside world, it looked like a normal life. But behind that door, tension had been building for years. The father, Mick Philpott, was known in the neighborhood. Confident and loud, sometimes unpredictable. Police had visited the house before. Arguments and disputes. Domestic drama that neighbors had grown used to hearing through the walls. Still, nothing that suggested what was coming.
Then came the early morning hours of May 11th, 2012. Just after 3 o'clock, the quiet street was suddenly broken by shouting. Flames were pouring from the front of the house. Neighbors woke to the glow of fire reflecting across the pavement. Smoke filled the street. Sirens began to echo through the dark. Inside the home, 6 children were trapped upstairs. Firefighters arrived within minutes. Hoses hit the flames. Windows were forced open. Rescuers rushed into the smoke-filled rooms. One by one, the children were carried out. The street fell silent, except for radios, footsteps, and the sound of parents screaming in the night. 5 children died that morning. The 6th died 2 days later in the hospital. The entire country watched the story unfold. At first, the father appeared on television grieving, crying, begging for answers, demanding justice for his children. Detectives, however, were already noticing small details that did not make sense. The fire had started at the front door. Accelerant had been used. Someone had pushed petrol through the letterbox. This was not an accident.
As investigators reconstructed the timeline, a darker picture began to appear. Phone records, witness statements, inconsistent stories. Slowly, detectives realized something that would shake even seasoned investigators. The fire had not come from outside. It had been planned, not by a stranger, but by the very people who lived inside the house. The plan had been meant to look like an attack, a staged tragedy. But fire does not follow plans. It spreads faster than fear, faster than regret. And by the time the flames were out, 6 children were gone. Detectives who had worked murders for decades would later admit something unusual about this case. When the truth became clear, some of them cried. Not because they had seen violence before, but because sometimes the worst crimes are not committed by monsters hiding in the dark. Sometimes they begin inside a family home, on a quiet street, behind a perfectly ordinary door.